Hi, and welcome to the A Plus U podcast. I'm your host, Danielle.
And I'm your co-host, Amber.
And Amber, today we're talking about my favorite topic.
Women's financial wellness.
Yeah! Girl power.
Hey, you know, that's the best thing about March. Women's History Month. Lots to celebrate.
Yeah. I was really hoping you were going to catch my girl power reference.
Wasn't going to sing Spice Girls to you. So.
But you got it.
I did get it.
That's what you know what? I'm telling you, there's two bands, if they ever go on a reunion tour, I am there.
Spice Girls and...
You can do it.
Oh, I can't. What's the other one?
NSYNC.
Oh, yeah, I would too.
Front row.
Too.
I would.
Yes.
Yep.
I'm there too.
Mm-hmm.
That'll never happen.
Oh, I know. It's so sad, but I can dream.
Yes, you can.
I can dream.
Yeah. The Backstreet Boys came back, so I was
know.
quite happy.
I know.
We don't have to talk about it anymore.
I know. The jealousy that runs through my veins. But no, super excited. As you mentioned, March is Women's History Month, so we thought, what a better way to celebrate and a theme.
A theme. We love a good theme.
We love a good theme.
Oh, we should have wore green. That would have enhanced the theme.
You're right.
Next time.
Noted. Okay, next March. But no, we're talking, today we are joined by Sarah Kuesel. Did I say that right?
You did.
Oh, look at that.
I mean, crushing it.
I got it. We're joined by Sarah Kuesel. Sarah, you're our Senior Manager of Remote Services.
Yes.
What does that mean?
Sure. So at Affinity Plus, we make sure that our members have access to all services, whether they can come into a branch or when they're at home. And so what that means is I manage the team of people who work on the phones and in our online and video channels. Yeah.
How long have you been at Affinity Plus?
So I've been at Affinity Plus for 10 years. I celebrated 10 years this year.
Congratulations.
Thank you. But I got my first bank job in 1997. So I've been doing this for quite a while.
We won't say the number.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
that's fine.
So what is a little bit of your history in finance? You know, you told us your role here. You started in 97. What have you been up to all these years?
Well, I started out as a teller at a bank in Bemidji, Minnesota, which is where I currently live. Yeah. Shout out to Bemidji. And I just really had a wonderful experience there. And I think actually that journey sort of led me to feel really strong about teaching budgeting and spending to people across the state, you know, whoever they are. When I started, I really started out kind of behind the eight ball. You know, what I would say is they kind of took a chance on hiring me. I was a single mom at the time. My little girl was 2. I really just didn't have 2 nickels to rub together, and I didn't know what I was doing, but I promised them that I would learn. And I was excited to be part of their team, and I convinced them to hire me. They tried to not hire me, but I convinced them to do it. So they did.
Hey, I love that tenacity.
I was going to say
That's amazing.
I'm already I'm in. Sarah, yeah. I'm in. I am committed to this story. Tell me more.
Yeah. And just from the day I started working in banking, I realized I really like this environment. You know, it's a really supportive environment. And there's so much to learn, and there's so many people to learn from. And just from day one, you know, I learned from the customers that I worked with. And of course, I learned from the people who had done lending for many years and the people who had done investing for many years. And I was just able to really grow. And I was able to grow in my career. And so I like I said, I started out as a teller. I also worked in the consumer lending department. I also worked in the real estate department. And I also was, at one point in my career, I was the e-commerce sales and service representative, which was the person who talked about this brand new product that we were starting to offer called online banking. So that's how far back it goes. And from there, I spent some time there. And then I did stay home for a little while with my kids. And that was wonderful to be able to do that. And then when it was time to go back, I really wanted to be part of something that was really meaningful and gave back to the community. And Affinity Plus was just the exact right fit for that. And so I started at Affinity Plus 10 years ago, and I haven't looked back.
That's awesome. What a story.
That's amazing. And I think that's actually is just such a good segue that you naturally did because you mentioned you were a single mom
Mhm.
and working with a younger child. Like,
Mhm.
isn't that like, would you say that like that's some of a common challenge that maybe women are facing financially right now is balancing work and caring for others, whether it's children, parents, etc.
Absolutely. I think that actually being a caregiver is one of the biggest challenges that women face when it comes to being financially healthy and having financial independence. There's so many things that happen in our lives. We might go on maternity leave. We might have to take care of our aging parents. We might have a child that we need to leave work. And all of those things are so incredibly important, but they also can cause financial stress because you might not be able to work. And so you lose income. You might lose opportunity for advancement in your career. You might have to start over. Certainly, that's what I did when I went back to work after staying at home. I had to start over again. And so all of those things can make you kind of feel like you're behind the eight ball. Yeah.
Mhm.
Caregiving is a real challenge for women.
Well, I mean, to kind of touch on, you talked about confidence, you talked about all that, like caregiving. So, you're taking a break from work or you're losing income. And a lot of times the word like confidence, like we hear that a lot. And so, a lot of times people know what they should do financially, but they don't always have the confidence doing it. So why do you think confidence plays a big role in like financial like wellness in through the eyes of a woman?
Well, okay. So when I think about financial wellness for a woman, I think there's really two words that come to mind for me. And those two words would be empowerment and independence. And I've been teaching budgeting and spending classes for many years. And I've been teaching a diverse population all across the state of Minnesota, many different places. But the majority of the people that attend my classes are women. And they're there because they're really there to build their confidence, but also because they're looking for peace of mind. I think as women, there's so many things that we take on and that we have on our plate. And being financially healthy really kind of helps free up that mental space that we need to take care of everything else that really matters.
So, Sarah, what you had mentioned is like women really want, when you think of women and finances, it's that empowerment and independence. Like from what you are seeing when you're out there doing the teaching of the budgeting and whatnot, what's the first step women should focus on if they want to feel more financially secure to have that empowerment and independence?
Sure. So I think the first thing that a woman needs to focus on is having clarity around their budget. And so that means writing it down. And I know that can be really scary. A lot of people don't want to do it. They just don't even want to face it. And but what I can say in the feedback that I've gotten when I've interacted with the people who have taken the classes from me is a lot of times what they say is that, writing everything down and creating a budget. Well, I thought I was going on a journey where things were going to feel very restrictive, but it's actually been very freeing. Because now you really have the flexibility to say yes to the things that align with your values and the goals that you have set for yourself. But even more importantly, you can say no to the things that not only drain your bank account, but just drain you.
Well, and I think that's the important. It's like you have to do what makes you happy,
Yeah.
and it's going to look different. Like your journey is going to look different than my journey, than Danielle's journey, and everyone's unique spending plan or budget is always going to be different, and it's okay to say no. I think that's key to this because I do think often there's the want or desire to keep earning or keep spending and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
Well, so, kind of on that note, what would you say to someone listening who maybe feels like she's behind?
Oh, goodness, you're not behind. You can start wherever you are. I think a lot of women think that they have to have it all figured out before they start on their financial wellness journey, right? And it's the exact opposite. When you're ready to start, just start today. One thing that we've done with our own kids is we've talked about, open up a Roth IRA. even if you only are putting $10 in a month, it's going to make a difference. And so what I would say is that a big dramatic change is not what you want to do. That's not how you start. You start small. You start in increments. You set small little goals, whether it's saving $10 or $20 a month and just setting it aside in a savings account, whether it's just making a decision not to make any impulse purchases for 2 weeks, right? Like whatever it is, whatever that goal is, that's a journey. You know, starting on a financial journey doesn't mean that by the end of the year, you have your retirement account set up, you have your savings account is exactly where you want it to be. That's not what this means. What it means is just facing where you are and making some changes that can help you get to where you want to go.
I felt all of that in my
No
soul.
kidding.
Only because that's me. Like, I am the type of person, and I'll admit it, that I am like, okay, well, if I'm going to do this, everything about it has to be perfect. Right? So
Right.
I have to have all of that done, and all has to be ready, and all of this going. But like breaking it down and like putting, like, you don't have to do that. And so that really spoke to me.
I think that's the key that a lot of our podcast guests have absolutely shared and said, is that nothing will ever be perfect, and that's okay. It works for you.
That's right. Yeah, exactly.
So it's such an important piece to remember. It's
Truly.
individuality in this. I know we talked a bit about like just like finances in general. Like, what about building your savings or updating your credit score or building your credit score if you don't have one, or investing? Like, those topics can be like a little intimidating.
They can be.
What's like a misconception you wish women would stop believing in money?
Okay. Well, I think there's quite a few things that I would like to say, right, to everyone who has a misconception about things. But what I would say is, if there's something you don't know, you can learn it, right? And if you are a member of Affinity Plus, you can walk into one of our doors and sit down with any one of our member advisors and start these conversations and get connected with any of the services that you need and get advice on any of the goals that you have. And I think that's what I would say.
Well, I think too, you kind of talked about like misconceptions and stuff, but I think finance has traditionally been this kind of male dominated space, right? And we're kind of like, we're three women sitting here who work at a credit union. Like, it's not what it used to be. It's not, so there is room for education. There's room for growth within this like area. And it's not something that needs to be intimidating, or it doesn't need to carry these traditional like misconceptions.
Well, and along with that, I think you said it before, is like, it's not going to be perfect. You don't have to have it all figured out. That's really where find the experts.
It is.
Come in and visit.
Come in and visit. And I think, one thing is that if you ever have had a bad experience, and so I myself, and I can share that I did have a bad experience one time when I walked into a bank, and I won't name names, but I just wasn't treated well, and I wasn't treated with caring or understanding. So I didn't resolve anything, and it was a little, that stays with you. Those kind of experiences don't go away. And when I first started working in banking, I said, I am never going to do that to someone. No one is ever going to feel that way when they come and they talk to me. And they're going to understand that they are cared about and that I can support them wherever they are. So I know it's hard. If you've had a bad experience, I would just encourage you to try again. Try again.
And maybe with a different organization.
Yeah,
if needed, like depending on the experience. Absolutely.
Well, I would say, money doesn't exist in a vacuum, right? And as you mentioned, it's tied to caregiving. It's tied to these relationships. So how would you say that, that tie between money and relationships or caregiving like shows up in conversations you have with members, or that you have with your staff that have with members?
Well, okay. So one of the things, and when I'm speaking specifically about women, is that I think women feel like they have to carry the weight of their family on their shoulders. And so they kind of bear the burdens of these financial responsibilities, and they don't want their family to be burdened by it. And I think that's such a mistake. Like, you need to bring your family with you on your financial journey. It's okay. One of the ways, I think, everyone has a different priority for how they're going to spend money, right? So one of the things that we figured out in my family, and I'm a married woman, and my husband and I don't always feel like we don't always have the same ideas about what's important to spend our money on during the year. Okay, yeah, right.
I think that could be common in many households.
Yes, I think it is. And so, that can put a really big strain on a relationship, even a great relationship, because it's that serious. And so one of the things we've done is we sit down once a year, every year in January, we figure out where we are, and then we battle it out in that month, like what our goals are going to be for the year. And then we work towards that. And I think it's totally appropriate as a woman to speak up and say to whomever it is that you're sharing your finances, this is what I want this year. And then come to an agreement. And do the same with your kids. Tell your kids, this is how much money we have to eat out this month. This is how much money I'm going to be able to spend on school clothes. And let them participate. Let them get into it. Let them say, you know what, I want more sweaters than that. So let's go to Goodwill, Mom. Let's go to Goodwill. And let them be a part of it. And it's going to help them in their journey in the future feel good about it. And it also helps them understand that they can contribute to the success of their family. It's not all on the mom's shoulders. Everybody can contribute.
Well, and what an opportunity for financial education, regardless of age.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Yeah. We just didn't talk about money. Like, when I was growing up, I had no idea if my parents had any money or not. And if I asked for $20, I just thought they had $20. Yeah. We didn't talk about it. And I think times have changed, and sometimes times change for the better. And I think it's time to bring kids into these conversations. Kids are younger and younger, getting cards in their hand. They have access to things online that they want to purchase. Maybe they have a gaming console where they just keep pushing the button to buy more lives, and they don't understand that somebody actually has to pay for it. And so because they have access to these things and to make these purchases, they need the education. And so bringing them along in the journey is actually really empowering for your children too.
I appreciate that so much, because I have two girls. I talk about them all the time, but they have technology, or they have this and that, and we'll be shopping or whatever the situation is, and they're like, I want this, and I'm like, that's expensive. And I feel like I'm this mean mom, broken record,
right?
Like, that's expensive, or all of that costs money, or like, can we go get dinner tonight? I mean, all the examples you just gave, but I'm like, we went out last night, so we're not going to go out again tonight, and so that just, like, again, like, everything you're saying is just like, yes, like, bring those kids along, because
bring them along.
I completely agree with you. We didn't talk about it, and I had no real concept of money until I mean, I was older, and I wish I would have started earlier.
So I know we've just spent some time, like, on the relationship side of money, and like bringing everyone together into that conversation. Like, it is a household conversation to have.
Yeah.
I think it does help contribute to the financial success of the house. Like you said, that's amazing. So outside of the house, how do you build that community of people that you can trust to help you in those financial goals? Like, I think this is kind of where credit unions really shine. So like, why does community matter so much when it comes to women's financial wellness?
Well, you need a safe space to have the conversation, right? If you have concerns, if you're feeling unsure of what the right thing to do is, it's nice to be able to talk to a professional, somebody with experience, somebody with maybe a little bit of insider knowledge, someone who can help you talk about investments as well as savings, as well as help with your credit. And so finding community partners through places like credit unions is critical, just to support your overall financial well-being. There are those day-to-day decisions that we make, and that's kind of what we've been talking about. Like, let's talk about impulsive spending. let's talk about how much we're going to spend on food this month and let everybody be a part of that. But there's long-term planning too. And that's when community partners, such as different professionals at Affinity Plus, can really make a difference in a woman's life.
I love that, that community partnership, because when I'm thinking about it, I would call a plumber if I had a plumbing issue.
Yeah.
The plumber's the professional.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
Exactly.
Oh
but
my gosh, yes.
But you think about money and you're like, oh, well, I need to figure this out, or I'll handle this. Well, that's literally your job. Like our job is literally to be the professional when it comes to money, when it comes to that partnership. So like, it's okay to call a professional in that sense.
Absolutely. And I think, Sarah, I know you touched on this, like when you shared about your role, but it's the access to real humans. So it's not just coming into a branch.
Yeah.
Your role and your areas within the credit union is really bringing the financial education to where members are. So whether it's through video banking from the comfort of their home, a phone call from on the road, on the go, wherever it may be, online chat, secure messaging, all of those wonderful things are out there to just still have that human touch, but leveraging technology so that way no one has to like do something in public if they don't want to. Like if there is any embarrassment or concern, it's that private conversation in their own space that your team is able to bring.
Yes. Yes. And I always like to tell people, because they'll be like, I'm kind of embarrassed. They're embarrassed. And I always say, working in banking is like being a doctor. You can tell me anything, and believe me, you're not going to show me something that I haven't seen before, and probably 10 times worse.
That is so beautifully said. That is such a fact.
It is.
I know. And I just I just think that people, money is emotional, and we talk about that all the time on the podcast and stuff. But it truly is this, like, we are the professional. We have done it. We will not judge you because we're here to help. That is our job.
So, Sarah, as we wrap up here today, like, what's one piece of encouragement that you'd like to leave women listening today?
I would say the one thing that I would say to every woman listening today is don't be afraid. Wherever you are, wherever you're starting from, that's the perfect place to start from, because that's where you are. Connect with a professional, take a class. You don't need to spend money to budget. Get out a piece of paper and write down how much money you make and how much money you owe every month. It's literally that simple. And set a few small goals for yourself and just start taking those steps toward financial wellness.
Beautiful. It starts with one step. Absolutely.
Well, Sarah, I mean, we can't thank you enough for coming in and hanging out with us today, all the way from Bemidji, from the Northland.
All the way from the Northland. That's right.
No, it's been great to have you. It's been great to have like your perspective. Obviously, you've been doing this for a really long time, and you're passionate about what you do in your community. So thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to come hang out with Amber and I.
Well, thanks for having me. It was a joy to be here today.
Thank you, Sarah.
Yeah. Well, make sure you check out affinityplus.org to check out all things Affinity Plus. Listen and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, and we'll catch you on the next episode of A Plus U.